Miami Beach, March 12, 2020. Police was called to the Mandarin South Beach Hotel, where rooms cost as much as $220 a night. After 11 p.m., the police would head to room 1107 on the 11th floor. A man identifying himself as Aldo Mejias answered the door. I believe there's a picture of Mr. Mejias on Google, but I'm not quite sure. He's remained very hush-hush, and you will see why. The police had entered the room with the body cams running. The footage was of a nude black man wandering around the bathroom and then vomiting. There was even video of the same black man on a pillow that looked like he'd thrown up on it. The other man was laying on the bed, and he was in possible cardiac arrest, according to Miami police report. Mejias would tell the story while police got body cam footage and pictures of what was going on in this hotel room. They referred to it as the, quote, drug-strewn hotel room, unquote. There were several bags of crystal meth, 2 on the bed and 1 on the floor. There was a bottle of injectable medicines for erectile dysfunction that shouldn't be mixed with alcohol. The bedding was stained with blood and feces. Mejias, 56, would continue to talk. He said he gave his credit card to, he's either a registered nurse or he's studying to be a nurse, but he's a male escort who puts homemade porn on a site called rent.min. And went by the name Brody Scott, but his name is Travis Dyson. He gave this money to Dyson to rent the room for them for the night, to my understanding. When he arrived, he found Dyson vomiting in the bed, and he said Dyson could barely walk. He kept collapsing. His breathing became shallow. He did chest compressions on him. And then he saw the other guy that he did not know. He was throwing up in the bathroom. These 2 men were just in bad shape at this moment. So he called the police, is what Mejias says. Now, this happens all the time. It happens all the time, Fridays and Saturdays in your city. But the reason why it made national headlines is because the black man was the former Florida candidate Andrew Gilliam, 40. He ran for governor but lost by a small margin, I heard, but he did lose. Gilliam is married and he's the father of 3. This is why the story made headlines. Gilliam was in a hotel room with a known gay male escort and a second man. So the story went wild. And that was a year ago, and it's still being talked about a year ago. When I first heard the story, I didn't even know who Gilliam was. I admit, I am not really into politics, and I don't live in Florida. So I guess if you lived in Florida, you might have known. And if you were in politics, you might have known. But I just really felt bad for the wife. I'm like, oh my God, she's finding out her husband is not only gay, but he is a drug abuser. So I just really felt for her. Now, there are many types of relationships: family relationships, friendships, acquaintanceships, and romantic relationships. Your romantic relationships can consist of many things as well, like, for instance, polyamory, which now has tons of definitions. But as long as everyone is an adult, not related, and has a full understanding of what's going on, I don't see the problem with it. Why am I talking about this? Well, Gilliam went on Tamron Hall's show and he says, quote, I don't identify as gay, I identify as bisexual, unquote. So he told the world, but did his wife know? His wife's name is R.J. Gilliam, but she goes by J.A.E. She said on that same show, Tamron Hall show, She said when Gilliam proposed to her many years ago and many children ago, he told her that she was bisexual, so she did know. She accepted him, she accepted his lifestyle like many other women do. And they got married. So, but being with a man and knowing he's bisexual is one thing, but being with a man and he's out there cheating is a whole nother thing. So I know the trust issues are there. She will probably have a hard time trusting him again if she ever does. But they are going through therapy, last I heard. She did move out and took the kids with her, but the kids kept asking about their dad all while he was in rehab. So she said she really wants to make the marriage work, and he does too. So, I mean, she's really standing by him. He better do right, because people were really clowning this situation. But, I mean, he really did bring it on himself, I must say. The night that he was at this hotel room, he was supposed to be at a wedding, but the wedding party said he'd never showed up. So he knew he was out there being a bad boy. I mean, he said sorry to everybody that supported him through his campaign. He said he had a little bit too much to drink. He said he was gonna put all plans to step down from all public-facing roles in the foreseeable future, and that he was going into rehab, which he did, and he admitted that he did have an alcohol problem, and he said it heightened up, I guess, when he lost the run for governor. He went into a deep depression, and I guess he was coping with alcohol and heavily drinking. But he said he didn't do any drugs. What? Matter of fact, Dyson that night actually went to the hospital. Gilliam would leave on his own accord and go back home. Gilliam also did not take a drug test until 3 days later, so I'm not even certain what happened with that, if anything showed up, like there was something else in his body that night. So, the GQ magazine did an issue this month, February 2021, called Modern Lovers, and Wesley Laurie was the interviewer. He interviewed Dyson. Dyson said he met Gilliam 1 or 2 weeks before that incident, and he met him on Grindr. They met up multiple times, had paid encounters where Gilliam paid him, and Dyson also said that Gilliam did do the drugs. He said gay men often use drugs to enhance their sex drive, and when you mix it with alcohol, it will knock you out. And he said they were using something called quote G, unquote, and some other drugs. And if you look at a video I did with Chris Burrows, who unfortunately died at a very same incident like that, doing G in a hotel, was supposed to be somewhere, was supposed to be home actually, or at work, but he pretended that he was ill to go meet a person at a hotel room, and he was using crystal meth as well. So it's very common, I see, very common. So both these men here really got themselves into something. Gilliam in return, and I read in other articles because they did not talk to GQ about any of this. He said he did not go to that hotel to have sex. He said that he drank too much. He believed that he was slipped something in his drink. He said he blacked out for about 3 hours that he can't account for. And he said he believes it was a setup. However, you walked into the setup on your own. You shouldn't have been there. And he even said that himself. So if it was a setup, it was a really easy one. He also said that his marriage had become mechanical and he was looking for an escape, which led him to see others. And that's when he went there to talk to Dyson. He said that Dyson offered him a drink and he asked him what was in it. And he said he couldn't even remember the last memory that he had, but he was drinking. He says, quote, "I don't have any clothes on. I have no idea why. And I'm up there like 5 or 6 police officers," unquote. So Gilliam says he was drugged and he believes he was set up, but oh well. His wife did contemplate divorce. She did move out and she took the kids, but the kids kept asking where daddy was. She said they are now in therapy and they're trying to work on their marriage because it's a marriage that they both want to work on. So hopefully they can get past this because, you know, it was horrible, but we know politicians have done all type of stuff like this with drugs, children, same-sex porn stars, sexual harassment, and so on and so on. You get it. So this will eventually blow over, but we'll still know that it happens. But hopefully they can get past it. It was kind of terrible. In my 20s, I did date a bisexual guy many years ago. You know, would I do it again? Probably not. But anyway, back to the story. It's kind of funny because Gilliam, he said his relationship became mechanical. I guess he would come home and eat dinner and play with the kids, and I guess it was becoming just regular, boring. It was a boring life. He wanted something exciting. Oh, and he got it. You know, sometimes having a boring life with the person you love, it's okay. It really is.